Welcome to 3D Accuracy, where I'll talk about 3D printing, 3D product design, and 3D injection and die-cast mold design. Well, we're on day 7. This is part 7 in my 3D Accuracy 3D Print Shop Remodel series. It's ended up to be a series. I don't know how that happened, but it has. So anyway, we last left off, I was going to move some things from along the wall on both sides of the shop and then grind the floor along both edges. And so let me show you what that looks like now that I've got part of that finished. You can see here along the back wall, this is what I had done a couple days ago. And then I moved everything out of the shop along both the side walls, and look at how nicely that turned out. Using my DeWalt angle grinder with a masonry wheel on it, masonry cutting wheel, just skimmed the very top of the floor to get all that paint overspray off so that the vinyl plank wood flooring I want to put down, the peel and stick planks, will adhere to the concrete. And I'm really very pleased with how that turned out. I'm just really happy with it. I'll show you the other side. Very much the same results. You can see how clean that is compared to all the overspray that was there before. And all down this side as well. It's just really looking good. I'm really happy with how that turned out, because now all that cruddy paint is off the floor. And so what I'm going to do today, day 7, is I went back on this one spot where I tried scrubbing it, and I tried a little bleach and a few other things. Didn't work so well, so I did hit this with the angle grinder as well. But by the time I got to this point, the edge of the blade, and I'll show you what it looks like. You can see the edge of the blade was wearing down pretty badly on this one side. So what I did is I flipped the blade over so that I've got a clean edge on the blade, because I'm using it flat on the ground. I'm not using it, to cut into a masonry wall. I'm just using one edge, one flat edge at a time. And it's actually, the blade is running backwards now from what they recommend, but I still have a hunch it's going to work to clean it up, and I don't have a lot to do yet. I just want to come back and hit some bad spots a little bit here and there throughout the shop and get that cleaned up. And then the next thing I'll do is go with my drill and the sanding pads, the sanding discs that I had the other day that I showed you, and that did a pretty good job of getting some of this stuff up. So I'm going to come back. You can see I did a spot with it right there, and it cleaned all that black dinge out of there from the tires. And so I'm going to hit the rest of the shop with that, and I think we're good to go. So that's going to be the project for today, is just making a final pass in some areas with the angle grinder, and then trying to get the rest of the floor done with the drill and the sanding disc pad. So I get it all cleaned up. Once that's done and I have the whole floor in good shape, then I'm ready to move on. Then I can start patching the concrete along the walls, fill the holes, the gaps, that kind of thing, and start washing the walls and painting. And, well, wash the walls, then I got to fill all the holes. I got to take care of the cracks and the holes in the wall, and then get on to the painting. And once we get to the painting, that's going to be exciting, because then we're kind of in the home stretch. Once I get the painting done, then the floor goes down, and we're in good shape. Then I can get the shop back together. Now, interestingly enough, the other day I had mentioned about trying to keep the printers available just in case I had an emergency, had to print something. Well, you wouldn't believe it. Never fails, right? Never fails. I had sent parts to a customer on a medical device, and it needed to be tested, and I sent it. I won't tell you who the shipper was. I don't believe in bashing people. You know, everybody makes mistakes, and that's just part of life. You know, my father used to say, the only way you're not going to make mistakes in life is if you're not doing anything, because making mistakes is a part of life, and you just learn from it and you move on. So anyway, I sent these parts, I don't know, 10 days ago, and you know, checked the tracking online, and it was delivered. Somebody signed for it. And I talked to the customer a few days later, and they said they never received the package. And he checked the tracking number online, and he says he has no idea who this person was that signed for it. So obviously it was misdelivered to a wrong place, and I called the company and they checked into it, and they says, well, if we can't find it by, I think, Thursday the 20th, then we consider it, you know, lost, and you can file a claim. And I'm like, oh geez, just what I need. You know, I don't need these kind of problems. So anyway, Thursday came around, didn't hear a word from them. Friday morning, I called the shipper and I says, okay, what's the story? And he says, well, they were unable to locate the package. And this is Friday, okay? This is Friday late morning. They were unable to locate the package, and so they considered it lost. So I filed a claim, and I said, well, you know, somebody signed for it. Somebody's sitting on this package. I don't know why you can't locate it. Can't you trace the driver's footsteps? You know, he was here, he was there, he was the next place down the line. Don't you know where he was about that time frame, you know, when it was signed for? You should be able to tell where the driver was at that time. Well, they couldn't do it, you know, they couldn't find out that information, blah, 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 blah. So anyway, I talked to the customer and they says, okay, 3D print some new parts. And I said, well, I need until Monday because I got to get the machine set back up, get it connected to the Wi-Fi, level the machine, calibrate the machine, get the materials dried and ready, blah, 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 all that mishmash to make a couple of parts for them over again. So I'm thinking, okay, that's going to blow a hole in my schedule for getting the shop work done around here and getting it set back up, but it needs to be done. You know, customer needs something, that always comes first. So then later Friday afternoon, I get an email from the customer. He said, the package showed up in the email. He said, would you believe it was delivered not by the shipping company that I sent it with, but the other shipping company that's very big here in the US. There's two of them. Everybody knows who they are. And anyway, he said that driver from the other shipping place had seen the package sitting on a return table at another company across the street from where my customer was for 3 days, waiting for the original shipper to come pick it up. I thought, oh my God. So the second driver from the other company that wasn't paid to deliver the package, he said to the person at that other company, he says, you know, I've seen this here for 3 days. He says, I'm going across the street to the other company to pick up something there. Would you like me to bring it to them? And so the person at this company where it was misdelivered to, she said, yeah, please, would you take it across the street for us? So he took it and delivered it from the other company. So, I want to thank a driver in Florida, drives a brown truck, who had the wherewithal to see this thing sitting there for 3 days and knowing nobody can take this across the street. What's the problem? Thank you for delivering that for me. I appreciate it. Okay, anyway, so that's the end of this video for today. I'm going to go ahead and clean up the rest of the floor, and then I'll show you what that looks like. Oh, and another thing I've discovered, I'm also going to retire that other camera because I get much better images, much better videos with my smartphone. It's a little cumbersome for me to use it. I can't get it on a tripod, so that's one thing we're going to have to design in 3D print, is something that's going to fit in the tripod and hold the phone. That's something we're going to have to do coming up here. But anyway, I'm not happy with the video on the other camera, so I'm not going to use that one anymore. And I've been in the editing software. I've been playing with the editing software and realized, oh, these videos don't look nearly as clean as I'd hoped they do. A couple of them didn't turn out too bad. When the doors were open and the light was good, they were okay. But when it was hot outside a couple days and I had the doors closed because it was cooler in here, they weren't so good. So anyway, we're going to have better videos from now on. Until I get another camera. Maybe, I don't know, maybe we'll set some sort of a goal. When I get to 500 subscribers or something, that would be a good one. Then I'll go out and purchase a new camera, because I know people are really serious about watching the videos I'm doing. So let's treat them correctly, all right? Good. So in the meantime, I've been working for 6-7 hours grinding around the edge, the little step along the edge in the shop, and I'm finished. It's been a long day and dirty. I just cleaned up, swept it all out, and then I took my my leaf blower and blew everything out, got all the dust out after I swept, you know, the majority of it. And so I got it cleaned up a little bit, and let me show you what it looks like. You can see I got this all cleaned off, and I got the front face. There were some lumpy spots in there, and I got that cleaned off. Everything there is cleaned. I did down this side also. You see the top of it. It was a lot of overspray. I think not just the paint, but the texture. You know, they blow that texture on, and then it was just, you know, all over the place. So, and real thick in some spots and thin in others. So I got all the paint overspray and the texture overspray all along here. Got that cleaned off, and so it's looking pretty good. So, and I faced this one also. There were some rough edges, and I cut the face, so it was clean. So tomorrow, what I'm gonna do is, I think I'm gonna go with the floors like this, because I've tried sanding them with the disc and in the drill, and it gets some of it off, but not really much of it. So it's on there pretty good. The only thing that really takes it off, of course, is the angle grinder. And I don't want to grind everything. It's just way too time consuming. I only wanted to get the real tough spots and get them out of here. So what I'm going to do tomorrow is I'm going to mix up the concrete, and mix up some concrete, and then I'll fill along this edge, get that crack in there filled, get that cleaned up, get that faced, do the same along that border and along that wall as well. This one I've gotten done. That one I did a while back. And I also got to do in front. There's a spot up there also where I want to kiss the face. You can see how rough it is. You know, it's just, if I paint over that, it's not going to look good. So I want to fill that in, patch it, clean it up. And I did the floor here in this area where there was overspray, got that all cleaned up. So it's basically ready to go. I'll start filling these seams tomorrow with cement. You know, I'll get those, because I can't lay a peel and stick floor over that. If there's any edges that come close to that, they're just going to fold right in to the gap. So I need to level all of that, fill all of those, fill these cracks, you know, seal these cracks. I may do some with cement. I may do some with some cement caulking that I bought, that I have. So once I get all these cracks filled, then the only thing left to do with the floor is wash it. And I'm debating if I do that now and then do all the painting and you know, filling all the holes and that kind of stuff, then I'm making more of a mess again. So I think I'm going to wait with the washing part of the floor until last. So once I get done with the concrete, then I'll jump on the walls and start painting the shop and getting it all done. So anyway, it's coming. It's looking pretty good. And right now, I got to move all the 3D printers back in here because they're all outside right now, out of the dust, out of the way. So I want to bring those back in for the night, and then I think I'll call it a day. So I'm happy that I made some good progress. That's a good thing. I got that all done. And tomorrow, cement. So that's another step in the right direction. We're getting there. This is not a, I don't consider these a how-to, you know, I'm not teaching how to do things. There's other people on YouTube that know much more about cement and doing that kind of stuff and grinding floors and blah, 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 blah. This is just what I'm doing. It's just informational. So you can, you know, pick up a little bit from it. Maybe yes, maybe no. But if you're doing a project, you know, similar, check out other videos, check out other people who really know how to do some of these things, and you know, get good information from them. That's important, so your project goes well. Okay. I hope you really enjoyed this video. If you're ever in need of 3D product design, 3D injection mold design, 3D die-cast mold design, or 3D printed prototypes or production parts, please feel free to contact me. You can find contact information in the video description. I look forward to hearing from you and to being of service to you. Thank you for watching. As always, I appreciate it. See you on 3D Accuracy's next video.